Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
The scalding coffee hit him square in the chest. For 3 frozen seconds, Samantha Park watched in mounting horror as the dark liquid spread across the crisp white shirt of the most intimidating man she'd ever seen. The expensive fabric, probably worth more than her monthly rent, was now completely ruined, and the man wearing it looked like he could buy her entire business just to shut it down out of spite. Oh God, I'm so sorry. The words tumbled out of her mouth as she grabbed napkins, her hands shaking so badly she knocked over the sugar dispenser. White crystals scattered across the polished marble floor of the hotel lobby like snow. I didn't see you, the tray it slipped. The man said nothing. He simply stood there, 6 feet of coiled fury in a now coffee-stained suit, his jaw so sharp it could cut glass, and his dark eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her stomach drop to her knees. His black hair was perfectly styled, his features so devastatingly handsome that even in her panic, some traitorous part of her brain registered that he looked like he'd stepped out of a Korean drama. The kind where the lead character owned half of Seoul and the other half of everyone's hearts. I'll pay for the dry cleaning, she babbled, still clutching the useless napkins. Or I'll buy you a new shirt. 10 new shirts, You'll what? His voice was deep, accented, and cold enough to frost the windows. You'll replace a custom-tailored Brioni shirt with your coffee shop wages. Samantha's cheeks burned. The way he said coffee shop made it sound like she sold dirt for a living. Look, it was an accident, she said, forcing herself to meet his gaze even though her knees were wobbling. I apologized. I offered to make it right. I don't know what else you want from me. Something flickered in his dark eyes, surprise maybe that she'd pushed back. Your name. What? Your name, he repeated, each word precisely enunciated. I want to know who just assaulted me with mediocre coffee in the middle of the Grandeur Hotel. It wasn't assault, it was an accident. And that coffee wasn't mediocre. It was a premium Ethiopian blend that I roasted myself. So, she stopped, realizing she was arguing about coffee quality with a man who looked ready to have her arrested. Samantha Park. His eyes narrowed. Korean. African American and Korean, she said, lifting her chin. Why? Is that relevant to my clumsiness? Before he could answer, a shorter man in an equally expensive suit rushed over, speaking rapid Korean. Samantha's Korean was rusty. Her grandmother had tried to teach her, but the words always jumbled together in her mind, same as English letters sometimes did. But she caught enough to know he was apologizing profusely on her behalf. The coffee-stained man cut him off with a sharp gesture. His eyes never left Samantha's face. Cancel my meeting with the hotel management. I have something more interesting to attend to. That sounded ominous. I really am sorry, Samantha tried again, her voice softer now. I'm here delivering coffee for a corporate event upstairs, and I was running late, and I wasn't watching where I was going. Clearly. And I know sorry doesn't fix your shirt, but I genuinely didn't mean to. What's the name of your company? The question threw her. What? Your coffee company, he spoke slowly as if she were dim. What's it called? Samantha's temper, usually slow to rise, sparked to life. She might be clumsy, she might mix up letters when she read, she might have just committed career suicide by dousing a hotel guest in hot coffee, but she wasn't stupid. Sam's Brew, she said coolly. We specialize in ethically sourced, small-batch roasted coffee. We're based in Brooklyn, we have 2 locations, and we're booked solid for corporate events 3 months out. Will you be needing that information for your lawsuit, or are you just making conversation? The corner of his mouth twitched. It wasn't quite a smile, but it was something. Neither, he said. I'm determining whether you're worth my time. Well, let me save you the trouble, I'm not. I'm just a girl with a coffee stain on her conscience and places to be. She bent to pick up her fallen tray, trying to ignore how her hands still trembled. Again, I apologize for your shirt. Send me the dry cleaning bill. She turned to walk away, proud that her voice hadn't shaken, determined to salvage what was left of her dignity. Miss Park. Something in his tone made her stop. She looked back. He was studying her with an expression she couldn't read, his head tilted slightly as if she were a puzzle he was trying to solve. How would you like to cater my company's annual gala? Samantha blinked. I'm sorry, what? Your coffee. If it's as good as you claim, I may have use for your services. His eyes glinted with something that might have been amusement or might have been something more dangerous. That is, if you can manage not to spill it on my guests. Before we proceed, we would love to hear where in the world you're watching from. Hit the like and subscribe button to stay connected for more heartwarming stories. Now let's proceed. Samantha stared at him, convinced she'd misheard. You want to hire me after I just dumped coffee all over you? I want to sample your product, he corrected. Whether I hire you depends on whether you can deliver quality that matches your confidence. He pulled a business card from his pocket, somehow still pristine despite the coffee disaster, and held it out. My assistant will contact you with details. She took the card with numb fingers. The name embossed in elegant silver lettering made her breath catch. Jinwoo Kang, CEO, Kang Industries. Oh no. She just coffee-stained one of the most powerful businessmen in New York, possibly the world. Kang Industries owned half of Manhattan's commercial real estate and had recently expanded into hospitality and luxury goods. She'd read an article about Jinwoo Kang just last month. The journalist had called him Korea's coldest export, and the man who makes grown executives cry in boardrooms. I don't understand, she managed. Why would you want to hire someone who just assaulted you with mediocre coffee? She used his own words, unable to help herself. That almost smile appeared again. I said your coffee was mediocre. I didn't say you were. Before she could parse that statement, he turned to his assistant. Minyu, get me a clean shirt from my office and arrange a tasting with Miss Park's company for tomorrow afternoon. My office, 3 o'clock. Yes, sir. The assistant, Minyu, shot Samantha a look that clearly said, what did you do to him? She wished she knew. Jinwoo Kang looked at her one more time, his dark eyes unreadable. Don't be late, Miss Park. I don't tolerate tardiness. Then he walked away, leaving a trail of coffee drops on the pristine marble floor and Samantha standing there with her mouth open, clutching a business card that felt like it was burning through her fingers. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Samantha delivered the coffee for the corporate event, thankfully without further incident, returned to her shop in Brooklyn, and immediately called her best friend and business partner, Yuki. You did what? Yuki's voice could probably be heard in the next borough. I spilled coffee on Jinwoo Kang, Samantha repeated, slumping over the counter of their small coffee shop. The late afternoon sun streamed through the windows, illuminating the mismatched furniture and local art on the walls. This place was her baby, built from nothing with Yuki's help and a small business loan that still kept her up at night. The Jinwoo Kang, the billionaire CEO, the man who eats other businesses for breakfast. And he wants to hire you. Yuki's eyes were wide behind her glasses. Sam, this is either the best thing that's ever happened to us or the beginning of a horror movie. I know, Samantha dropped her head into her hands. What if it's some kind of revenge plot? What if he brings me to his office just to humiliate me? Or, Yuki said slowly, what if he genuinely likes your coffee and this could be the break we've been waiting for? Samantha wanted to believe that. She really did. But the way Jinwoo Kang had looked at her, like she was some kind of interesting insect he'd found, didn't exactly inspire confidence. I have to prepare samples, she said, forcing herself to focus. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. What do we have that would impress a Korean billionaire with impossibly high standards? Everything we make is excellent, Yuki said loyally. But for this, we go with the Ethiopian blend you were carrying, the one that already baptized him, plus the Colombian Reserve and that new Brazilian roast you've been perfecting. The Brazilian isn't ready. It's ready, you're just a perfectionist. Yuki grabbed her shoulders. Sam, listen to me. You're brilliant at what you do. Your palate is incredible. The fact that words sometimes get jumbled in your brain doesn't change that you can taste the difference between coffee beans grown on opposite sides of the same mountain. This Kang guy would be lucky to have you. Samantha smiled weakly. You have to say that. You're my best friend. I have to say that because it's true. Now go home, get some sleep, and tomorrow we'll show this cold-hearted Korean billionaire what Brooklyn coffee culture is all about. Samantha did not sleep. Instead, she spent the night roasting beans, calibrating her grinder, and practicing her presentation. By 2:30 a.m., her small apartment above the coffee shop smelled like a Brazilian plantation, and she'd written and rewritten her tasting notes 17 times. The letters kept swimming on the page, D's flipping into B's, words scrambling themselves, until she finally gave up and decided to speak from the heart instead. By morning, she was exhausted, overcaffeinated, and running on pure anxiety. "You look terrible," Yuki announced cheerfully when Samantha stumbled downstairs at 8. "Thank you, that's exactly what I needed to hear." "I mean, you look terrible but also fierce, like a zombie warrior." Yuki thrust a breakfast sandwich into her hands. "Eat, then go home and make yourself presentable. You have," she checked her watch, "6 hours to transform into a professional coffee expert." "I am a professional coffee expert." A professional coffee expert who doesn't look like she's been personally roasting beans in Hell's Kitchen all night. Fair point. At 2:45 p.m., Samantha stood outside the gleaming glass tower that housed Kang Industries' New York headquarters, trying not to throw up. She'd chosen her outfit carefully: black slacks, a crisp white blouse, and a blazer that Yuki swore made her look successful but approachable. Her natural curls were pulled back in a professional bun, and she'd even managed to apply makeup without poking herself in the eye with the mascara wand. The insulated carrier containing her coffee samples felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "He's just a man, an insanely powerful, devastatingly handsome man who could destroy your business with a single phone call, but still, just a man." The pep talk didn't help. She walked into the lobby, all marble and chrome and intimidation, and approached the reception desk. "Samantha Park for Mr. Kang. I have an appointment at 3. The receptionist's professional smile faltered slightly. "Oh, you're the coffee girl." Samantha's spine straightened. "I'm the owner of Sam's Brew, yes." "Of course. Mr. Kang is expecting you. 68th floor. Minyu will meet you at the elevator." The elevator ride felt like ascending to her doom. When the doors opened, Minyu was indeed waiting, looking significantly less stressed than he had yesterday, but still regarding her with obvious wariness. "Miss Park, welcome to Kang Industries." He was polite but formal. "Mr. Kang is finishing a conference call. He'll see you shortly." Shortly turned out to be 45 minutes. Samantha waited in a reception area that probably cost more than her entire shop, watching impossibly beautiful people in expensive suits stride past with purpose. Everyone looked like they knew exactly what they were doing, exactly where they belonged. She felt like a child playing dress-up. The coffee in her carrier was probably getting cold. Her presentation notes, carefully typed and retyped until the words stopped swimming, felt damp in her nervous hands. She was just considering making a run for it when Minyu appeared. "Mr. Kang will see you now." Her legs felt like jelly as she followed him down a hallway lined with modern art. He opened a door to an office that was more like a palace, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan, minimalist furniture that probably cost more than a car, and behind a massive desk, Jinwoo Kang. If anything, he was more intimidating in his natural habitat. He looked up from his computer, those dark eyes fixing on her with laser focus. Today's suit was charcoal gray, perfectly fitted, and definitely not coffee-stained. His expression was unreadable. "Miss Park, you're on time, that's a start." "I value punctuality," she said, pleased her voice came out steady. "Do you?" One dark eyebrow rose. "You said you were running late yesterday when you used me as target practice." Her cheeks heated. That was different, I was making excuses, but there was something in his tone that wasn't quite harsh. "Show me what you've brought." Right, business. She could do business. Samantha set her carrier on the table he indicated and began unpacking her samples with practiced efficiency. "I've prepared 3 different roasts, each representing a different flavor profile and origin story. The first is an Ethiopian Yirgacheffe." "The one you spilled on me." "Yes, Yes, it's a light roast with bright, floral notes. The second is a Colombian Reserve with a medium body and chocolate undertones. The third is a Brazilian." "I don't want a rehearsed speech." Jinwoo leaned back in his chair, studying her. "I want to know why you do this. Why coffee?" The question caught her off guard. What? You heard me. Why coffee? Why this business? There are easier ways to make money. Samantha hesitated. This wasn't part of her prepared presentation, but something about the way he was looking at her, genuinely curious, maybe made her answer honestly. Because coffee is democratic, she said slowly. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire CEO or a struggling student. A good cup of coffee tastes the same. It brings people together. It starts conversations. It's a language everyone can speak. Jinwoo's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Poetic, but does it taste good? There's only one way to find out. Okay, just a quick check-in. Hope you are enjoying the story so far. Hit the like and subscribe button to stay connected because the story is about to get intense. Now let's proceed. Samantha had hosted hundreds of coffee tastings, but never one that felt like a cross-examination. Jinwoo Kang didn't just taste her coffee, he interrogated it. He asked about roasting temperatures, bean origins, processing methods, flavor profiles. He questioned her sourcing ethics, her relationships with farmers, her quality control processes. Every answer she gave seemed to spawn 3 more questions. And through it all, he watched her with those intense dark eyes, as if he could see right through her carefully constructed professional facade to the nervous girl underneath. The Brazilian, he said finally, setting down the cup. You hesitated when you mentioned it. Why? Damn, he was too perceptive. I don't think it's ready yet. The roast profile needs adjusting. It's excellent. Samantha blinked. I'm sorry. The Brazilian, it's the best of the 3. He leaned back in his chair. But you lack confidence in it. Why? She wanted to lie, to give some professional excuse about perfectionism and quality standards. But something about his direct gaze made her tell the truth. I can taste that it's almost there, she admitted. But I can't always trust what I taste. Words get jumbled in my brain sometimes, and I worry that flavors might too. That I might be missing something obvious that everyone else can see. You're dyslexic. It wasn't a question, but she nodded anyway. Yes, which is ironic for someone who's supposed to read flavor notes and bean labels and roasting charts all day. I'm aware of several highly successful executives who are dyslexic, Jinwoo said. It doesn't seem to have stopped them. Or you. There was something almost approving in his tone. Samantha didn't know what to do with that. The Brazilian is excellent, he repeated. Your palate is not compromised. If anything, you're overly critical of yourself. He stood, walking to the window. I'm hosting a gala in 3 weeks. 500 guests. I want your coffee there. Samantha's heart leaped. Really? However, he turned back to her, I have conditions. Of course he did. What kind of conditions? I don't just want you to cater the event. I want you to be there, personally overseeing every aspect of the coffee service. That's not a problem. I always oversee major events. And I want you to accompany me. The words hung in the air between them. Samantha was sure she'd misheard. Accompany you. As my date. Her brain short-circuited. You're what? Jinwoo walked toward her, each step measured and deliberate. My date for the evening. You'll arrive with me, stay by my side during the event, and leave with me when it's over. I don't understand. Why would you? I'm here to serve coffee, not to. Consider it part of the job. His voice was calm, businesslike, as if he were negotiating a merger and not asking her to pretend to be his girlfriend. The gala is important. Appearances matter. Having you there serves multiple purposes. What purposes? Her voice came out sharper than intended. Making people think you're dadding the help, showing off how magnanimous you are by elevating a coffee shop owner, or is this some kind of pretty woman fantasy where... Careful, Miss Park. His tone dropped to something dangerous. I'm offering you significant exposure for your business. Don't insult us both by assuming this is about anything tawdry. Then what is it about? He studied her for a long moment. My family has certain expectations. This gala is attended by business associates, potential investors, and various members of Korean society who take an interest in my personal life. Having you there would be convenient. Convenient, she repeated flatly. You want a fake girlfriend for the evening. I want a companion who can hold an intelligent conversation about coffee and business, who isn't afraid to challenge me, who won't expect anything beyond a professional arrangement. His eyes held hers. You fit the criteria. Samantha should have said no, should have grabbed her samples and walked out of his office and never looked back. This was insane. He was essentially asking her to be an escort, no, worse, to be an accessory, a prop in whatever corporate theater he was performing. But then she thought about the exposure. 500 guests at a Billionaire's gala, the connections she could make, the business opportunities, the validation that Sam's brew was good enough to serve in these circles. And she thought about her student loans, the mortgage on the shop, the expansion plans that kept getting delayed because they didn't have the capital, the dreams that felt just out of reach. What's in it for me? She heard herself ask, besides catering the event. Something that might have been respect flashed in Jinwoo's eyes. $20,000 for the coffee service, another $10,000 for your companionship, plus introductions to 3 potential corporate clients. $30,000. That was 6 months of rent, equipment upgrades, maybe even a down payment on a second location. I'm not sleeping with you, Samantha said bluntly. I'm not asking you to. And I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. I'm a coffee shop owner from Brooklyn, not some society princess. I'm aware, his mouth quirked slightly. Your authenticity is part of your appeal. This is crazy. Yes. You're essentially hearing me to be your fake girlfriend. Business companion, but yes. Samantha looked at him, this cold, impossibly handsome billionaire who'd somehow decided she was worth his time, and made a decision that would either be the smartest or stupidest thing she'd ever done. I have conditions, too. His eyebrows rose. Do you? First, you sign a contract, everything in writing. What you're paying for, what I'm expected to do, and very clear language about what I'm not expected to do. Agreed. Second, you give me complete creative control over the coffee service. No interference, no second-guessing my professional judgment. Within reason. No, complete control. You're hearing me because I'm good at what I do. Let me do it. He considered this, then nodded. Agreed. Third, and this is non-negotiable, you treat me with respect. I don't care how much money you're paying me. I'm not some prop you can ignore when it's convenient. If I'm going to be your companion for the evening, you treat me like an equal. For the first time since she'd met him, Jinwoo Kang smiled. Really smiled. It transformed his entire face, making him look younger and somehow even more devastating. You continue to surprise me, Miss Park. Is that a yes? That's a yes. He extended his hand. Do we have a deal? Samantha looked at his hand, elegant, strong, completely capable of either building her up or destroying her. Then she looked at his face, trying to read the truth behind those dark eyes. She was probably making a huge mistake. She shook his hand anyway. We have a deal, Mr. Kang. His grip was firm, warm. Jinwoo, if we're going to be seen in public together, you should use my name. Then I'm Samantha, or Sam, not Miss Park. Sam, he repeated, and something about the way he said it, soft, almost intimate, made her shiver. I look forward to working with you. He still hadn't let go of her hand. Neither had she. You did what? Yuki's shriek could probably be heard in Manhattan. I accepted his offer, Samantha repeated, packing the length of their shop. It was after hours, the lights dimmed, the familiar smell of coffee beans providing comfort even as her world tilted on its axis. $30,000, Yuki, plus potential corporate clients. We'd be insane to turn that down. We'd be insane to accept it. Sam, this guy is basically hearing you to be his fake girlfriend. Business companion, Samantha corrected, echoing Jinwoo's words. And it's just for one night. How bad could it be? Yuki gave her a look that clearly communicated how many ways this could go wrong. Let me count. 1, he could be a secret serial killer who lures coffee shop owners to fancy galas before murdering them. 2, you could fall for him and get your heart broken by Korea's coldest billionaire. 3, you could spill coffee on someone even more important and somehow make an even bigger disaster. 4. Okay, I get it. Samantha slumped into one of their mismatched chairs. But what else was I supposed to do? This is the opportunity we've been waiting for. And he's already sent over the contract. You emailed it an hour after I left. It's all there in writing, exactly what we discussed. Very clear, very professional. Professional, Yuki snorted. There's nothing professional about hearing a fake date. Rich people do weird things all the time. At least he's being upfront about it. Samantha pulled up the contract on her phone. Look, $20,000 for the coffee service, $10,000 for my attendance as his companion. No physical expectations beyond standard gala behavior. He even included a clause about harassment and appropriate conduct. Yuki leaned over to read, her expression gradually shifting from horrified to thoughtful. Okay, this is actually pretty thorough. And that non-disparagement clause goes both ways. He can't trash talk your business, and you can't tell people about the arrangement. See, it's fine. It's weird, but it's fine. When's the gala? 3 weeks, Saturday the 15th. And what are you supposed to wear to a billionaire's gala? Because I hate to break it to you, but that blazer you wore today is literally the fanciest thing in your closet. Samantha hadn't thought about that. I'll figure something out. You need a dress, a fancy one, and shoes, and probably someone to do your hair and makeup because, no offense, but you still can't apply eyeliner without looking like you got in a fight with a raccoon. I can figure it out. Yuki's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her eyes widened. Sam, you might not have to figure it out. What? I just got an email from someone named Minyu Park at Kang Industries. He says Mr. Kang has arranged for a stylist to meet with you tomorrow at noon to discuss your wardrobe for the gala. They'll come to the shop. Samantha snatched the phone. Sure enough, there was the email, professionally worded and completely presumptuous. He arranged a stylist without asking me. Rich people, Yuki said sagely. They really do just do whatever they want. Samantha's first instinct was to fire off an angry email refusing the stylist. She could dress herself, thank you very much. She didn't need Jinwoo Kang deciding what she should wear. But then she looked around her shop, at the mismatched furniture they'd salvaged from Craigslist, at the chipped mugs they used for tastings, at her own reflection in the window wearing jeans and a t-shirt with a coffee stain on the sleeve. She thought about the gleaming luxury of Kang Industries offices, the impossible elegance of everyone who worked there. She thought about showing up to a gala wearing a dress from T, J, Max, and trying to hobnob with millionaires. Fine, she muttered. One stylist appointment, but if they try to put me in something ridiculous, I'm walking out. That's my girl, Yuki said, grinning. Now about the coffee service, what are you thinking? Business. Finally, something Samantha actually understood. They spent the next 3 hours planning the menu, discussing logistics, and arguing about whether to include her experimental cardamom blend. By the time Yuki left, Samantha felt marginally more in control of the situation. She was just locking up when her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Jinwoo. Minyu will send you tomorrow's schedule. The stylist meeting is non-negotiable, but if you have concerns about the choices, you can voice them directly to me. Also, well done today. Your coffee was exceptional. Samantha stared at the text. Jinwoo Kang had her personal number. Jinwoo Kang was texting her. Jinwoo Kang had complimented her coffee. She should probably respond professionally, coolly, maintain boundaries. Instead, she typed, the Brazilian still needs work, and I can dress myself, but I appreciate the gesture. See you soon. His response came immediately. The Brazilian is perfect. You simply refuse to accept your own excellence. We'll work on that. Something warm unfurled in Samantha's chest. Something dangerous. She turned off her phone before she could say something stupid. The stylist arrived at noon sharp the next day. A whirlwind of elegance named Soo-jin, who swept into Sam's brew with garment bags and accessory cases like she was preparing for a royal wedding. Jinwoo said you needed help, Soo-jin announced in lightly accented English. I am here to provide miracles. I don't need a miracle, Samantha protested. Just a dress, a nice dress, nothing crazy. Soo-jin looked at her with the patience of someone dealing with a particularly stubborn child. You are attending the Kang Industries annual gala as Jinwoo's companion. This is not just a dress situation. This is a statement. I don't want to make a statement. I just want to look appropriate. Appropriate is boring. Jinwoo does not date boring women. We're not dating. This is a business arrangement. Soojin's smile was knowing. Of course, business. Now let me see your closet. What followed was possibly the most humiliating hour of Samantha's life. Soojin examined her limited wardrobe with the expression of someone discovering a natural disaster, muttering in Korean and making occasional sounds of distress. This, Soojin finally announced, will not do. We start from scratch. She pulled out the first dress, a stunning emerald silk number that probably cost more than Samantha's car. Try this. I can't afford. Jinwoo is paying, try it. He's paying for my dress. Of course, you are his companion, he understands presentation. Soojin waved impatiently. Try it, we don't have all day. Samantha wanted to argue, wanted to insist she could buy her own dress. But the emerald silk was calling to her, and her bank account was whimpering in the corner, and maybe, just maybe, she could swallow her pride this once. The dress fit like it had been made for her. Beautiful, Soojin breathed when Samantha emerged from the bathroom. The color makes your skin glow, and the cut perfect for your figure. Jinwoo will not be able to look away. That's not the goal. Yes, business arrangement. I understand. Now try this one. They went through 15 dresses. 15. Each one more beautiful than the last. Each one making Samantha look like someone she barely recognized, elegant, sophisticated, like she actually belonged in Jinwoo's world. She finally settled on a deep burgundy gown with delicate beading along the bodice. It was sophisticated without being over the top, elegant without being stuffy. She could move in it, breathe in it, maybe even serve coffee in it if necessary. Excellent choice, Soojin approved. Now shoes and jewelry, and we discuss hair and makeup. I can do my own hair and makeup. Soojin's expression suggested otherwise, but she didn't argue. Instead, she pulled out a business card. This is my number. When you realize the night before that you cannot do your own makeup, you call me. I will send someone. I won't need. You will call, Soojin said firmly. Then her expression softened. You are nervous, this is normal, but Jinwoo chose you for a reason, trust that, and trust yourself. After Soojin left, with a dress, promising alterations and delivery before the gala, Yuki emerged from where she'd been hiding in the back room. So, she said, still think this is just a business arrangement. It is. Sam, that man bought you a dress that probably costs $5,000. He's maintaining appearances. He's interested in you. Don't be ridiculous. Jinwoo Kang doesn't date coffee shop owners. This is all about his image and his family's expectations. After the gala, he'll go back to dating models and heiresses, and I'll go back to roasting beans in Brooklyn. But even as she said it, Samantha wondered. Before we proceed, we would love to hear where in the world you're watching from. Hit the like and subscribe button to stay connected for more heartwarming stories. Now let's proceed. Chapter 5, The Unexpected Dinner. Samantha didn't see Jinwoo again for a week. She told herself she wasn't disappointed. This was business, after all. He was probably busy running his empire, making millions of dollars, doing whatever heartless billionaires did in their spare time. But then, 9 days before the gala, Minyu called. Mr. Kang would like to have dinner with you tonight, to discuss the gala arrangements. Samantha, who was in the middle of training a new barista and had coffee grounds in her hair, nearly dropped her phone. Tonight, as in, today tonight. Yes, Miss Park, 7 o'clock. He'll send a car to collect you. I haven't agreed. He said to tell you it's non-negotiable. Gala preparation, Minyu added, then lowered his voice. Though between you and me, I think he just wants to see you again. The line went dead before Samantha could respond to that bombshell. Was that Mr. Tall dark and brooding? Yuki asked, grinning. He wants to have dinner, tonight, to discuss gala arrangements. Gala arrangements. Is that what the kids are calling it these days? It's business. Sure it is, that's why you're blushing. Samantha wasn't blushing, much. She spent the rest of the afternoon in a state of controlled panic. What did one wear to dinner with a billionaire? The blazer again? Something more casual? She didn't own anything that qualified as nice dinner attire. At 6:30, she gave up and wore black jeans, a burgundy blouse that Yuki swore brought out her eyes, and the one pair of heels she owned that didn't make her feel like she was walking on stilts. The car arrived at exactly 7 o'clock, a sleek black sedan with a driver who looked like he could double as a bodyguard. He opened the door with a polite "Miss Park," and Samantha climbed in, feeling like Cinderella going to the ball. Except Cinderella probably wasn't terrified of her Prince Charming. They drove to a restaurant in Manhattan that Samantha had only read about in magazines, the kind of place where you needed reservations 6 months in advance and every dish was a work of art. The kind of place where she absolutely, definitely did not belong. Jinwoo was waiting at a private table in the back, and when he stood to greet her, Samantha's breath caught. He wasn't wearing a suit. Well, he was wearing suit pants and a crisp white shirt, but no tie, and the collar was open just enough to show the column of his throat. His hair was slightly less perfect than usual, like he'd run his fingers through it. He looked almost human. Almost. Samantha. His voice did that thing again, where her name sounded like something intimate. Thank you for coming on short notice. Did I have a choice? She meant it to sound challenging, but it came out breathless. His mouth quirked. There's always a choice. I'm glad you chose to be here. He pulled out her chair, and Samantha sat, hyper-aware of his proximity. Wine. Sure, red, please. He ordered in Korean, something that sounded expensive and impressive, and then turned his full attention to her. It was like being in a spotlight. How are the gala preparations progressing? He asked. Right, business. She could talk about business. Good. The coffee menu is finalized. I'm bringing the Ethiopian and Colombian, plus a special espresso blend I've been working on. Yuki and I will handle all the serving ourselves with 2 additional staff members for backup. No catering company. For coffee, absolutely not. This is too important to trust to someone who might over-extract the espresso or serve the Ethiopian at the wrong temperature. Jinwoo smiled, that rare, genuine smile that made him look like a different person. You're very protective of your coffee. It's my reputation on the line. And what about the other aspect? Are you comfortable with the companion arrangement? Samantha took a sip of the wine that had magically appeared in her glass. It was delicious, naturally. I'm managing. Sujin found me a dress. I know, she sent me photos. Samantha nearly choked. She what? For approval. Don't worry, they were of the dress on a mannequin, not on you, though I'm certain you'll look stunning. Her cheeks heated. This isn't necessary, you know, the dress, the dinner, all this. Preparation. I can show up and smile and make small talk. I've worked enough corporate events to know how to behave. This isn't a corporate event, Jinwoo said, his expression turning serious. Or rather it is, but it's also a performance. My family will be there. Business associates who have known me since I was a child. People who will scrutinize everything, how we look together, how we interact, whether we seem genuine. And do we seem genuine? He looked at her for a long moment. I don't know yet. That's why I wanted to have dinner. We need to know each other well enough to be convincing. So this is like a rehearsal. Think of it as research. The waiter appeared with appetizers that looked too beautiful to eat. Tell me about yourself, Samantha Park. The parts that aren't in the background check I ran. She should have been offended by the background check comment. Instead, she was curious. What did the background check tell you? That you're 22, born and raised in Brooklyn. Father unknown, mother passed away when you were 19. Raised primarily by your Korean grandmother. Full scholarship to NYU, business degree, graduated with honors despite your dyslexia. Opened Sam's Brew 2 years ago with Yuki Chen, your roommate from college. Clean credit, no criminal record, no scandalous social media presence. He paused. It told me the facts, but not the story. Samantha wasn't sure she wanted to tell him the story. The facts were easy, neat, simple, they didn't hurt. The story involved foster care and loneliness and a grandmother who did her best but worked 3 jobs. It involved being the mixed-race kid who didn't quite fit anywhere, the dyslexic student everyone underestimated, the girl who learned to fight for every single thing she'd ever achieved. But Jinwoo was watching her with those intense eyes. and something about his expression made her think he might actually understand. "My mom was 17 when she had me," Samantha said slowly. Her family, Korean, traditional, weren't thrilled about the African-American boyfriend or the unplanned pregnancy. She kept me anyway, but she was young and scared and not really equipped to be a mother. She left. Eventually, when I was 9, said she needed to find herself. Samantha picked at the food on her plate. "My grandmother took me in. She was tough, expected perfection. Didn't really understand why I couldn't just read like everyone else, why the letters wouldn't stay still on the page. But she taught you Korean." "She tried. I can understand it better than I can speak it, and I definitely can't read it. The characters just..." She made a jumbling gesture with her hands. "But she taught me about perseverance, about not letting anyone tell you what you can't do." "She sounds formidable." "She passed away 3 years ago, heart attack." Samantha's throat tightened. "She never got to see the coffee shop, never knew that I actually made it." Jinwoo reached across the table and covered her hand with his. The touch was brief, professional, but somehow comforting. She knew. Grandmothers always know. Something in his voice made her look up. "You sound like you're speaking from experience." "My grandmother raised me too, after my parents died." Samantha hadn't expected that. Somehow, she'd imagined Jinwoo springing fully formed from corporate headquarters, all cold efficiency and business acumen. "What happened?" "Car accident. I was 12. His expression was neutral, but his eyes held shadows. "My grandmother took over the business and raised me at the same time. She was exacting, demanded excellence in everything. Nothing was ever quite good enough. And now she's retired to Seoul and spends her time telling me I work too much and need to get married." His mouth twisted. "Hence the gala situation." Understanding dawned. "This is about her. You need a date because your grandmother is pressuring you." "Partly, but also because..." He stopped, seeming to choose his words carefully. "There are expectations. As the CEO of Kang Industries, as a Korean man from a certain type of family, my personal life is scrutinized. Every woman I'm seen with is analyzed as a potential wife. Every date becomes an engagement rumor. It's exhausting." "So you hired a fake girlfriend to keep people off your back?" "I hired someone I can actually talk to, someone who isn't interested in my money or my connections, someone who spills coffee on me and still manages to challenge me at every turn." He smiled slightly. "You're refreshing, Samantha." She didn't know what to say to that. They ate in more comfortable silence, the conversation shifting to lighter topics: coffee, New York, their respective businesses. Samantha found herself relaxing, laughing at Jinwoo's dry observations about corporate culture. He was funny, she realized with surprise. Under all that icy exterior, there was actual warmth, actual personality. It was dangerously appealing. "I have a question," she said as dessert arrived, something chocolate and gorgeous and probably sinful. "At the gala, how couple-why do we need to be?" Jinwoo's eyes glinted with something that might have been amusement. "Define couple-why." "You know, hand-holding, arm around waist, those little touches that couples do." She felt herself blushing again. "I just want to know what to expect. We should seem comfortable with each other, familiar, but I won't ask you to do anything that makes you uncomfortable." "What about dancing? Please tell me there's no dancing." "There's dancing." "I can't dance." "You can't, or you haven't learned." "Both, neither. I have 2 left feet and no rhythm. It's tragic." Jinwoo stood suddenly, extending his hand. "Show me." "What's here?" "No one's watching. Show me how you dance." This was insane. They were in a fancy restaurant with other diners who were definitely pretending not to watch. But Jinwoo was standing there with his hand out, and Samantha had never been one to back down from a challenge. She took his hand and let him pull her up. There was no music, but Jinwoo didn't seem to care. He positioned her hand on his shoulder, his own hand settling at her waist, and began to move in a simple box step. "See, not so difficult." "You're doing all the work," Samantha protested, but she followed his lead, trying not to think about how close they were. How good he smelled, something expensive and masculine. How his hand at her waist was warm through the fabric of her blouse. "That's what leading is," he said, his voice low. You just have to trust me." They moved together in the small space between tables, and Samantha felt herself relaxing into the rhythm. He was right. It wasn't difficult. Not when he was guiding her, anticipating her missteps, making it feel effortless. "There," he murmured. "You can dance." Samantha looked up and found his face inches from hers. Those dark eyes were focused on her with an intensity that made her breath catch. For one impossible moment, she thought he might kiss her. She thought she might let him. Then reality crashed back. This was business, a contract. She was his hired companion, not his actual girlfriend. She needed to remember that. She stepped back, breaking the contact. "I should go, early day tomorrow." Something flickered across Jinwoo's face, disappointment maybe, but he nodded. "Of course, I'll have the driver take you home." The ride back to Brooklyn was quiet. Samantha stared out the window, watching Manhattan give way to her neighborhood, trying to untangle the mess of feelings in her chest. This was supposed to be simple. A business transaction, money for services rendered. But the way Jinwoo had looked at her during that dance, the way his hand had felt at her waist, the way he'd shared his own story with such unexpected honesty, none of that felt like business. And that terrified her. Because in 3 days, she was going to walk into a gala full of Manhattan's elite on the arm of Jinwoo Kang, pretending to be his girlfriend. And she was starting to worry that the pretending might not be the hardest part. The hardest part would be remembering it wasn't real. The day of the gala, Samantha woke up at 4 a.m. in a state of pure panic. She had too much to do. The coffee equipment needed to be transported to the venue. The beans needed final quality checks. She needed to brief her staff, coordinate with the catering team, confirm the setup schedule. And somehow, in the middle of all that, she needed to transform into someone sophisticated enough to be Jinwoo Kang's date. "Breathe," Yuki commanded when Samantha arrived at the shop at 5 a.m. "I've got the equipment handled. The van's already loaded. Carlos and Maria know exactly what to do. Everything is under control." "What about the done? And the already handled?" "But, Sam," Yuki grabbed her shoulders, "you are an excellent coffee roaster and a terrible control freak. Let me handle this part. You focus on not having a nervous breakdown before your fake date with Mr. Devastatingly Handsome." "It's not a date." Right, business arrangement. Now go home and start getting ready. Soojin will be at your place at 2. Samantha had not called Soojin about hair and makeup. She'd been determined to do it herself, to maintain some small shred of independence in this whole ridiculous situation. But when she looked in the mirror and saw her hands shaking, saw the exhaustion in her eyes and the coffee stains on her fingers, she admitted defeat and called the number on Soojin's card. Soojin arrived with a makeup artist named Hana and enough products to stock a department store. "I knew you would call," she said smugly. "Now sit. We have 4 hours to make you magnificent." It felt like preparing for battle. Hana did her makeup with the concentration of a surgeon, foundation that somehow made her skin look like silk, eyeshadow in shades of bronze and gold that made her brown eyes pop, a lipstick that was deep burgundy to match the dress. Soojin worked on her hair, transforming her usual wild curls into an elegant updo with a few artful tendrils framing her face. When they were done, Samantha barely recognized herself. "Stunning," Soojin pronounced. "Now the dress." The burgundy gown fit even better after Soojin's alterations. It hugged her curves in all the right places, the beading catching the light with every movement. The shoes, strappy silver heels, made her legs look impossibly long. "I look like someone else," Samantha whispered. "No," Hana said gently. "You look like yourself, just elevated." At precisely 6:30 p.m., there was a knock on her door. Samantha's heart leaped into her throat. It was too early for Jinwoo. He'd said 7. But when she opened the door, there he was, looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine spread in a perfectly tailored tuxedo that probably cost more than her monthly revenue. He stared at her. "You're early," Samantha managed. Yes," Jinwoo seemed to collect himself. "I wanted to make sure you had everything you needed, but I see." His eyes traveled over her, and something blazed in their depths that made her skin flush. "You clearly have it handled." Sujin and Hana helped. Remind me to give them both bonuses. He stepped into her small apartment, looking impossibly elegant among her second-hand furniture and coffee-scented chaos. Are you ready? No, yes, maybe. Samantha laughed nervously. Is anyone ever ready for something like this? Jinwoo reached out and took her hand. Samantha, look at me. She did. You are brilliant, talented, and beautiful. You belong at this gala just as much as anyone else there. More than most, actually. Don't let anyone, including yourself, make you feel otherwise. The words settled something in her chest. Thank you. And besides, his mouth quirked, I'll be right there. If anyone gives you trouble, we can spill coffee on them together. Samantha laughed, some of the tension leaving her shoulders. That's a terrible plan. But it made you smile. Come on, we have a performance to give. The Grandeur Hotel ballroom had been transformed into something out of a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow prisms across cream-colored walls. Round tables draped in silk surrounded a polished dance floor. A string quartet played softly in one corner, while waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres that were probably tiny works of art. And in the middle of it all stood Samantha's coffee station, elegant, professional, and staffed by Yuki, who shot her a thumbs up from across the room. Your setup looks excellent, Jinwoo murmured, his hand at the small of her back as they entered. Shall we make the rounds? The next hour was a blur of introductions. Business executives, socialites, investors, all impossibly polished, all eyeing her with barely concealed curiosity. Jinwoo introduced her simply as Samantha Park, owner of Sam's Brew, but the way he said it, with pride in his voice, made it sound like an accomplishment worth noting. Some people were genuinely interested, asking about her business with what seemed like real curiosity. Others were clearly judging, their smiles not quite reaching their eyes as they took in her youth, her ethnicity, her non-pedigreed background. She felt like a fraud. Like any moment, someone would see through the expensive dress and perfect makeup to the Brooklyn coffee shop owner underneath. You're doing beautifully, Jinwoo whispered during a lull. Half the women here are jealous, and the other half want to be your friend. I think they just want to understand why you're with someone like me. Someone like you, his eyes hardened. You mean someone intelligent, accomplished, and infinitely more interesting than most of the people in this room. Before Samantha could respond, an elderly Korean woman approached. She was tiny, elegant, and radiating authority from every pore. Jinwoo's entire body tensed. Halmione. Grandmother, oh no. Jinwoo-ya, the woman said, her eyes sharp as she looked between them. Then, in Korean, so this is the girl who's been taking up your time. Introduce me properly. Jinwoo switched to Korean, his voice respectful. Halmione, this is Samantha Park. Samantha, my grandmother, Chairman Lee Min-seo. Samantha's Korean was rusty, but she understood enough. She bowed, maybe not perfectly, but respectfully. Annyeonghaseyo, it's an honor to meet you. Chairman Lee's eyebrows rose. You speak Korean. A little, my grandmother tried to teach me, but I'm not very good. Samantha felt her cheeks heat. I understand more than I can speak. At least you try. That's more than most young people. The woman switched to accented English. Jinwoo tells me you own a coffee business. You're very young for such an undertaking. It wasn't quite an insult, but it wasn't a compliment either. I am young, Samantha agreed. But I work hard and I care about quality. Sometimes that matters more than age or experience. Chairman Lee's lips twitched, approval maybe. Bold words, can you back them up? My coffee is being served tonight. You can judge for yourself. I will. The woman studied her intently. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone more, polished, someone from the right family with the right connections. Her gaze flicked to Jinwoo. Someone he chose for strategic reasons rather than, she paused, whatever his reasons are. Samantha felt Jinwoo tense beside her, but before he could defend her, she spoke up. With respect, Chairman Lee, I think you're underestimating your grandson. He's far too intelligent to choose someone for purely strategic reasons, and he's far too honest to pretend to care about someone he doesn't. It was a gamble, claiming Jinwoo cared about her when this was all just a business arrangement. But something in Chairman Lee's expression told Samantha that weakness would be eaten alive here. The only way through was confidence. Chairman Lee actually laughed. "I see why he likes you. You have spine." She patted Samantha's arm. "We'll speak more later. For now, enjoy the evening. And Jinwoo," she switched back to Korean. "This one is different from the others. Don't mess it up." She swept away, leaving Samantha slightly stunned. "What did she say?" Samantha asked. "At the end." Jinwoo's expression was unreadable. "She approves of you. That's rare." "She's terrifying." "Yes, but she's also brilliant, and she knows quality when she sees it." He smiled slightly. "You impressed her. Not many people can say that." Before Samantha could respond, someone called Jinwoo's name. More introductions, more small talk, more performing the role of devoted companion. But through it all, Jinwoo stayed close. His hand at her back, his attention on her even when talking to others, small comments whispered in her ear that made her laugh and helped her remember to breathe. It almost felt real. Dinner was an elaborate affair, 7 courses of food that was more art than sustenance. Samantha was seated next to Jinwoo at the head table, painfully aware of the eyes on them. Every gesture, every smile, every whispered conversation was being analyzed. "You're thinking too much," Jinwoo murmured, his lips close to her ear. "Just be yourself." "Myself doesn't belong at the head table of a billionaire's gala." "Yourself created a successful business from nothing at 22. Yourself impressed my terrifying grandmother. Yourself is exactly where she should be." Samantha looked at him, searching his face for signs of insincerity, but his dark eyes were steady, honest. Maybe he actually meant it. After dinner, the dancing began. Samantha watched couples take to the floor, elegant, practiced, perfect. Her stomach clenched. "Time to demonstrate what you learned," Jinwoo said, standing and offering his hand. "I thought maybe we could skip this part." "And disappoint everyone who's waiting to see if we can dance together. Absolutely not." His smile was gentle. "Trust me, remember." She took his hand. The dance floor felt enormous, exposed. But the moment Jinwoo pulled her into his arms, hand at her waist, her hand in his, the rest of the room seemed to fade away. "Just follow my lead," he murmured. They moved together, and somehow it was easier than it had been in the restaurant. Maybe because she was getting used to the way he led, strong and sure. Maybe because the burgundy gown swirled around her legs like magic. Maybe because when she looked up at Jinwoo, the intensity in his eyes made her forget to be nervous. "You're a natural," he said. "You're a good liar." "I never lie, Samantha." His hand tightened at her waist. "You should know that about me. I'm many things, cold, ruthless, demanding, but I don't lie." The music shifted to something slower, more intimate. Other couples crowded onto the floor, but Samantha barely noticed. All she could see was Jinwoo. All she could feel was the warmth of his hand, the solid strength of his shoulder under her palm. "Why did you really hire me?" The question escaped before she could stop it. The truth, Jinwoo, not the corporate answer about appearances and family expectations. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Because you were real. Everyone else in my life wants something from me, money, connections, status. You just wanted me to pay for my dry cleaning." His lips quirked. "It was refreshing. You were refreshing. And now that you've paid me $30,000 to be here. Now you're still real, still honest, still challenging me at every turn." He pulled her slightly closer. "Tell me something, Samantha. Are you pretending right now?" Her breath caught. "What?" "This, us, the way you look at me." His eyes searched hers. "Is it all performance, or is some of it real?" She should lie, should remind him this was business, a transaction, nothing more. Should protect her heart from the inevitable crash when this fantasy ended. But he'd said he never lied, and somehow, in this moment, she couldn't either. "I don't know," she whispered. "It started as performance, but now—" She stopped, unsure how to explain the warmth in her chest when he smiled, the flutter in her stomach when he touched her, the way she'd started looking forward to his texts. "Now I'm confused." "Good. Good. I'd hate to be confused alone." His thumb traced small circles at her waist. "I have a confession, Samantha. This gala, the companion arrangement, it wasn't entirely about family expectations." What was it about? I wanted an excuse to spend time with you, to get to know you without the pressure of actual dating, to see if this, he gestured between them, was just me being intrigued by someone different or if it was something more. Samantha's heart was pounding. And what did you discover? That I'm in trouble. His expression was almost rueful. Because you're not supposed to fall for your fake girlfriend. That's not how these things work. The words hung between them, impossible and terrifying and somehow perfect. Jinwoo. Whatever she was going to say was interrupted by a commotion near the entrance. Raised voices, security moving quickly. Jinwoo tensed, his body shifting instinctively to shield her. A woman was arguing with security, young, beautiful, dripping in designer clothes and fury. She was speaking rapid Korean, her voice getting louder. Damn it, Jinwoo muttered. Who is that? My ex-fiancé, Mi-sun. His jaw was tight. This is going to be unpleasant. Mi-sun had spotted them. She pushed past security, clearly someone who was used to getting her way, and stormed across the dance floor with all the subtlety of a hurricane. Jinwoo, she shouted in English, apparently for Samantha's benefit. What is this? Who is she? Mi-sun, you weren't invited. Jinwoo's voice was ice. Leave now. Leave, leave. You break our engagement, you humiliate me in front of everyone, and now you're parading around with some. Mi-sun looked Samantha up and down with pure venom. Some nobody coffee girl. Samantha felt every eye in the room turn to them, felt the weight of judgment, speculation, scandal. She wanted to disappear. But Jinwoo's hand tightened on hers, anchoring her. Samantha Park is my guest, he said, his voice carrying across the now silent ballroom. She's a successful business owner, a talented professional, and someone I care about deeply. You, Mi-sun, are trespassing. Security. You care about her? Mi-sun laughed, sharp and bitter. Is that what you're calling it? Caring? Don't be naive, Jinwoo. This is about the business. It's always about the business with you. You don't care about anyone. You're wrong. Am I? Then tell me, tell everyone. Mi-sun gestured wildly at the assembled crowd. Tell them you love her. Tell them this isn't just another one of your calculated moves. Silence, heavy, crushing silence. Samantha couldn't breathe, because Mi-sun was right, wasn't she? This was calculated. This was business. Jinwoo had hired her, paid her, brought her here as part of some elaborate corporate theater. Yes, he'd said he was falling for her, but how could she trust that? How could she trust any of this? Tell them, Mi-sun demanded. Jinwoo looked at Samantha. Just looked at her, his dark eyes full of something she couldn't quite name. Then he turned back to Mi-sun. I don't owe you or anyone else an explanation of my feelings, but you're right about one thing, I don't care about many people, which is why it's significant that I care about Samantha. He didn't say love, he said care. It shouldn't have hurt, this was all fake anyway, but somehow it did. Security, Jinwoo said quietly. Escort Ms. Young from the premises. If she returns, she'll be arrested for trespassing. Mi-sun was still shouting as security guided her away, but Samantha barely heard it. She was too busy trying to keep her composure, trying not to let the cracks in her heart show on her face. I'm sorry, Jinwoo said softly. She had no right. It's fine. Samantha's voice sounded distant to her own ears. She's not wrong, is she? This is business, a transaction, I should remember that. Samantha. I need some air. She pulled away from him, ignoring the eyes still watching them. I'll be right back. She practically fled the ballroom. Samantha found herself on a terrace overlooking the city, the cold December air biting through her thin dress. She wrapped her arms around herself, trying to stop shaking. This was stupid. She was stupid. Of course, Jinwoo didn't actually care about her. He'd hired her, paid her $30,000 to play a part. Everything else, the dinners, the confidences, the almost kisses, that was just him being a good actor, playing his role convincingly. She should have known better, should have protected her heart, should have remembered that girls from Brooklyn didn't get fairy tale endings with Korean billionaire princes. You'll catch pneumonia out here. She turned to find Yuki standing in the doorway, holding 2 glasses of champagne. How's the coffee service going? Samantha asked, deflecting. Brilliantly. Everyone loves it. We're already fully booked for the next 6 months based on the contacts I made tonight. Yuki handed her a glass. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because my best friend looked like she was about to cry in front of 500 people, and I wanted to make sure she's okay. I'm fine. You're absolutely not fine. What happened with the psycho ex? Samantha told her. About Mi-sun's accusations, about Jinwoo's careful non-denial, about the reminder that this was all just business. That's it, Yuki said when she finished. That's what has you spiraling. What do you mean, that's it? Yuki, he didn't deny it. Didn't say he actually cared about me, just that I was, what did he say? Someone he cares about. Passed a fake ex in front of a bunch of strangers. Sam, Yuki set down her champagne. Jinwoo Kang literally told a room full of New York's elite, including his terrifying grandmother and major business associates, that you were significant to him. He defended you against his ex-fiancée. He could have de-escalated by playing it cool, but instead he publicly claimed you. It was all part of the act. Was it? Because from where I'm standing, a man who's just performing doesn't look at you the way he looks at you, doesn't touch you like you're precious, doesn't smile that soft smile that he only seems to have when you're around. You're seeing what you want to see. And you're seeing what you're afraid of. Yuki grabbed her shoulders. Listen to me. You are brilliant and worthy and absolutely deserving of a fairy tale ending. Stop sabotaging yourself because you're scared. I'm not scared. You're terrified. You're terrified that this might be real, that he might actually care, because if he does and it doesn't work out, it'll hurt. So you're protecting yourself by assuming the worst. Yuki's expression softened. But Sam, sometimes you have to risk the hurt to get the happiness. Before Samantha could respond, the terrace door opened again. Jinwoo stood there, his tuxedo jacket gone, his tie loosened, looking more human than she'd ever seen him. Can we talk? Yuki squeezed Samantha's hand and left without a word. The silence stretched between them. I handled that badly, Jinwoo finally said. With Mi-sun, I should have, I don't know, said something different, better. You said what you felt, that's honest. Is it? He moved closer. Because what I feel is complicated and terrifying and completely inappropriate for a business arrangement. Jinwoo. Let me finish, please. He took a breath. When I hired you, it was supposed to be simple. A companion for an evening. Someone to keep my grandmother and the business vultures happy. Someone I could control. That stung. Control. Bad choice of words. Someone I could keep at arm's length, he amended. Someone who wouldn't get under my skin or make me question the very careful walls I'd built around myself. And then you spilled coffee on me and apologized with such genuine horror that I couldn't stay angry. And then you challenged me about your coffee quality while offering to buy me 10 new shirts. And then you walked into my office and negotiated like someone who knew her worth. He smiled slightly. You were supposed to be easy to compartmentalize. You're anything but. Samantha's heart was pounding. What are you saying? I'm saying Mi-sun was right. I don't care about many people. I'm not good at feelings or vulnerability or any of the things that apparently make relationships work. But you... He stepped closer until she could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. You make me want to try. You make me want to be someone who can say the words instead of just feeling them. What words? He cupped her face in his hands, his touch gentle despite the intensity in his eyes. That this stopped being business the moment you looked at me like I was just a man instead of a billionaire. That I care about you, actually care, not someone I care about corporate speak. That watching you tonight, seeing you hold your own with my grandmother and the sharks in that ballroom, made me realize I'm completely gone for you. You're gone for me, Samantha repeated, hardly daring to believe it. Completely, embarrassingly, inconveniently. His thumb brushed her cheek. I know I hired you. I know there's a power imbalance and this is wildly inappropriate, and you have every reason to think this is just me trying to get what I paid for. But Samantha, I would tear up that contract right now if it meant you'd believe this is real. Jinwoo. I'm falling in love with you. Maybe I've been falling since you spilled that coffee. Maybe. She kissed him. She couldn't help it. Couldn't stand there and listen to Jinwoo Kang, cold, ruthless billionaire CEO, stumble over a confession of love without doing something about it. He made a surprised sound against her lips, then pulled her closer, deepening the kiss. It was nothing like she'd imagined, not polished or perfect. It was desperate and real and tasted like champagne and possibility. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jinwoo rested his forehead against hers. "So," he said, his voice rough, "does that mean you feel the same, or was that just an elaborate way to shut me up?" Samantha laughed, the sound shaky. "I'm falling too. I've been fighting it, telling myself it was fake, protecting myself from getting hurt. But Jinwoo, when you look at me, I feel like I'm someone worth looking at. When you defend me, I feel strong. When you believe in me, I believe in myself. Good, because I'm not letting you go." He kissed her again, softer this time. "Fair warning, I'm terrible at relationships. I work too much, I'm demanding, and I apparently have ex-fiancés who crash galas. I spill coffee on people, and read slowly, and can't dance without stepping on your feet. Perfect, we'll be disasters together." He smiled against her lips. "Although technically, you owe me one more hour of contracted companionship. How would you like to spend it? Let's go back inside, face the music, show everyone that this," she gestured between them, "is real." "You're sure? It's going to be complicated. My world is harsh, and people will judge you for being with me." "Let them judge. I've spent my whole life being underestimated. What's a few more people thinking I don't belong?" She straightened her shoulders. "Besides, I have excellent coffee and a really good fake boyfriend. I'll be fine." "Not fake anymore." "No," she agreed, her heart soaring. "Not fake anymore." They walked back into the ballroom hand in hand. The whispers followed them, of course they did, but Samantha found she didn't care. Let them talk, let them speculate. She had nothing to hide. Jinwoo led her back to the dance floor, pulling her into his arms as the orchestra struck up a new song. "One more dance," he murmured. "One more dance, and then about 1,000 more after that." He laughed, really laughed, the sound warm and genuine, and spun her across the floor. And for the first time all evening, Samantha felt like she truly belonged. Not because of the dress, or the makeup, or the performance, but because she was exactly where she was meant to be. Epilogue, 6 months later. Samantha stood in the lobby of Kang Industries, holding a tray of coffee samples and trying not to grin like an idiot. "Miss Park," the receptionist, who now knew her by name, smiled. "Mr. Kang is expecting you. Go right up." 6 months. 6 months since the gala, since that terrace kiss, since Jinwoo had torn up her contract and asked her on a real date. 6 months of navigating the complicated waters of being with one of New York's most eligible bachelors while running her own business. It hadn't been easy. The media attention alone was sometimes overwhelming. Photos of them at restaurants, speculation about engagement rings, think pieces about their age gap and different backgrounds. Jinwoo's world was exactly as harsh as he'd warned. But it was also wonderful. He'd kept his promise about corporate clients. Sam's Brew now supplied coffee to 3 major companies, and they'd opened that second location in Manhattan. Yuki was hearing their 5th employee next week. They were successful, truly, genuinely successful. And she was happy, truly, genuinely happy. She found Jinwoo in his office, scowling at his computer screen. He looked up when she entered, and that soft smile, the one Yuki had noticed at the gala, the one that was only for Samantha, transformed his face. "You're here." "I'm here, with the samples you requested." She set down the tray. "Although I should warn you, if you criticize my new roast, I'm breaking up with you." Empty threat. You love me too much. Dangerously accurate. She kissed him hello, still marveling that she could just do that now. Kiss Jinwoo Kang whenever she wanted. Now taste the coffee and tell me I'm a genius. He dutifully tasted each sample, offering thoughtful feedback that made her both proud and slightly annoyed that he was right about the temperature on the Colombian. "So," he said when they'd finished the professional part of her visit, "I have something for you. If it's another expensive dress, I'm going to remind you that I can buy my own clothes now." "It's not a dress." He pulled out an envelope. "It's an opportunity." Curious, Samantha opened it. Inside was a proposal, formal, professional, completely Jinwoo. He wanted to invest in Sam's Brew, not as her boyfriend, but as a business partner. He'd laid out terms, projections, growth strategies. Everything was fair, balanced, giving her complete creative control while providing the capital she needed to expand beyond her wildest dreams. Jinwoo, she looked up at him, overwhelmed. This is separate from us, he said quickly. If you say no, nothing changes between us personally. But Sam, your business is solid, your product is excellent, and you have the drive to build something significant. I want to help you do that. Why? Because I believe in you. Because watching you build something from nothing is inspiring. Because, he pulled her close, because I love you and I want to see you succeed. Tears pricked Samantha's eyes. You're sure this won't make things weird, mixing business and personal? We've been mixing business and personal since you assaulted me with coffee. I think we can handle it. She laughed, then kissed him thoroughly. Okay, yes, let's do this. Let's build something amazing together. Together, he agreed, although I have one more question. What? He pulled back slightly, his expression uncharacteristically nervous. My grandmother wants to know when we're getting married. She's been asking weekly. It's becoming uncomfortable. Samantha's heart stopped. Are you? I'm not proposing, not yet. When I propose, it'll be romantic and perfect and you'll cry happy tears. His smile was gentle. But I am saying that I want that future. With you, when you're ready, no pressure, no contracts, just us. Jinwoo. Tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me you see it too. She thought about her grandmother, who'd never gotten to see her success. About her mother, who'd missed out on watching her daughter build a life worth living. About all the times she'd felt like she didn't belong anywhere. And then she thought about Jinwoo, difficult, demanding, impossibly loyal Jinwoo, who made her feel like she belonged everywhere, especially with him. I see it, she said softly. I see our future. I see us building businesses and drinking excellent coffee and arguing about temperature settings. I see your grandmother giving me advice I pretend to ignore. I see late nights and early mornings and everything in between. Yeah, she kissed him once more. But first, you have to promise me something. Anything. At our wedding, whenever that happens, we're serving Sam's brew coffee. Non-negotiable. Jinwoo laughed, the sound full of joy and promise, and a future that was terrifying and perfect all at once. Deal, he said, although I have one condition. What? You have to promise not to spill it on me during the ceremony. I make no promises. Fair enough. He pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. I love you, Samantha Park. My coffee-spilling, business-building, absolutely perfect chaos. I love you too, Jinwoo Kang. My cold-hearted, secretly romantic billionaire. Not so secret anymore. No, she agreed, smiling against his lips. Not so secret anymore. And somewhere in Brooklyn, in a small coffee shop that smelled like dreams and possibility, Yuki flipped the sign to open and smiled, knowing her best friend had found exactly what she deserved. Not a fairy tale ending. Something better. A real one. The end. Thank you for joining us on Samantha and Jinwoo's journey from a coffee catastrophe to true love. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Let us know in the comments which part was your favorite and where in the world you're listening from. Until next time, may your own love story be as unexpected and beautiful as a perfectly brewed cup of coffee.